Dear students, in the previous video we have studied about how to find the moments of the forces about a point. In this video we will discuss how to find the position of center of parallel forces by using the concept of moments. We take three cases. In first case, suppose that all the parallel forces acts at the points at a1, a2, an. All these points lies on a straight line. Suppose P1, P2, Pn be the number of parallel forces acting at point A1, A2, An lie on the straight line OX, and suppose that x1, x2, x3, xn be the distances of these points A1, A2, An from the fixed point O. Now, because forces, all the forces are parallel forces, therefore the resultant is equal to R is equal to magnitude of R will be equal to P1 plus P2 plus minus P3 plus and so on plus Pn. A negative sign of P3 is taken due to the opposite direction of P3. Now, suppose that this resultant act at a point G which also lie on this OX, and the distance of G from the fixed point O is x. Now, we take the moment of all the forces about O. Moment of resultant about O will be equal to P1 plus P2 minus P3 plus Pn into x. This resultant of all these forces, the moment of all resultant of all these forces will be equal to the moment of the individual sum of algebraic sum of moments of the individual forces about the same point O. Moment of force P1 about O will be equal to P1 x1, that of P2 will be equal to P2 x2 minus P3 x3 and so on plus Pn xn. This is the algebraic sum of moments of all the individual forces about the point O, and in the left hand side the moment of the resultant of all these forces P1, P2, P3, Pn. From this equation, x comes out to be summation P1 x1 upon summation P1. Now, we take the second case, when points of application of all the forces, all the parallel forces lie in a plane. Suppose the force P1 acts at a point A1 whose coordinates are x1, y1, P2 acts at point A2 whose coordinates are x2, y2, P3 acts at point x3, y3, and suppose that because all these forces are parallel forces and magnitude of the resultant R will be equal to P1 magnitude of P1 plus magnitude of P2 minus P3 and so on. Negative sign of P3 is due to the opposite direction of P3. Now, suppose that their resultant R acts at a point G whose coordinates are x bar, y bar. Because position of G, that is center of all these parallel forces, is independent of common direction of forces. Now, we rotate the plane in such a way all the forces of all the parallel forces become parallel to y axis. We rotate plane x o y in such a way that all the parallel forces become parallel to y axis. Now, we take the moment of all these forces about O. In this case, when we rotate all the plane in such a way that all the parallel force becomes parallel to y axis, then this will be the P1. Position of P2 will be in such a way that this will be parallel to y2, and P3 will be also parallel to P1 will be parallel to y axis, P1, this is P2, P3, and this will be resultant R. Now, moment of all these forces about point O, moment of P1, this distance is x1, therefore moment of P1 about O will be equal to P1 x1 and moment of P2 which acts at point A2, moment of this P2 will be equal to, about O will be equal to P2 into x2 and so on, and moment of all the resultant of all these forces will be equal to P1 plus P2 plus Pn into x bar, because moment of resultant is equal to the algebraic sum of moments of all the component forces. Therefore, P1 plus P2 plus Pn, this is resultant which acts at a point G, whose distance from the perpendicular distance from the O will be equal to x bar is equal to P1 x1 plus P2 x2 plus Pn xn. Therefore, x bar comes out to be summation P1 x1 Pi xi upon summation Pi. Now we again rotate forces, rotate the plane such that forces become parallel to Ox. Now we again take the moment about O, then moment of the resultant P1 plus P2 plus Pn about O will be equal to P1 plus P2 plus Pn into y bar. This moment of resultant will be equal to the algebraic sum of moments of the all the individual forces. Moment of first force P1 will be equal to P1 y1 plus P2 y2 plus Pn y1. From this equation, y bar comes out to be summation Pi yi upon summation Pi. Now in third case, we have to find the center of non-coplanar forces acting at a given point of plane, but all the forces are parallel forces. Let forces P1, P2, Pn meet the xy plane at point A1 x1 y1, x2 y2, xn y1, and their resultant is equal to R P1 plus P2 plus Pn at G xy, where Ox and Oy are the coordinate axes. By using the same concept as discussed in the second case, the taking moments about Ox, moment of resultant about Ox will be equal to P1 plus P2 plus Pn into y bar will be equal to moment of all the individual forces plus P1 plus y1, P1 y1 plus P2 y2 plus Pn y1. From this equation, y bar comes out to be summation P1 Pi yi upon summation Pi. Similarly, taking moments about Oy, x bar comes out to be summation Pi xi upon summation Pi. Now we discuss some examples to elaborate this concept. See this example first. Parallel forces P, P, P act at angular points of right angle triangle ABC, and parallel forces 2P, 2P, 2P act at the middle points of sides. If the sides of triangle including the right angle are 6 and 8 units respectively, find the distance of center of these forces from C, the right angle. Right angles at point C and distance, suppose CA is equal to 6 and CB is equal to 8. Now we take C as origin and CA as x axis and CB as y axis. CA is 6 units, therefore coordinates of the point A are 6 0, because C is origin, therefore coordinates of C are 0 0 and that of B will be 0 8. Now we take midpoints. Suppose D is the midpoint of CA and coordinate of D will be equal to 3 0, and suppose F is the midpoint of CB and coordinate of F will be by using midpoint formula 0 4, and midpoint of AB, coordinates of midpoint of AB will be 3 4. Suppose that all these forces are parallel forces acting at different points in the plane. Now by using the case we have discussed earlier in the previous article, center of, suppose their center is x bar, y bar lie in this plane, then x bar, x coordinate of the center will be equal to By using the result, x bar is equal to p1 x1 plus p1 x1 plus p2 x2 plus p3 x3 and so on upon p1 plus p2 plus p3 by using pn. By using this result, force P x at point C, P into x1 is 0, P into 0 plus 2P into 3x2 plus P into 6 plus 2P into 3 plus P into 0 plus 2P into 0 upon magnitude of all these parallel forces P plus 2P plus P plus 2P plus P plus 2P. By solving, we get x bar is equal to 2P, and similarly y bar will be equal to P into y1, 2P into y2 plus P into y3, 2P into y4 and so on. By using the concept we have already discussed in previous article, y bar comes out to be 8 upon 3. Therefore, center of these parallel forces is 2 8 by 3. Now also we have to find the distance of the center of these forces from the right angle. By using the distance formula, distance from the point C will be equal to 2 minus 0 square plus 8 minus 3, 8 upon 3 minus 0 square whole under root, comes out to be 10 by 3 units. Now see this example, 3 forces act at the corner of a square, each perpendicular to the plane of square. Find the resultant if the resultant is a given force of magnitude r acting at the fourth corner. Now suppose a resultant acts at the fourth corner. Now we take this fourth corner as origin, and suppose A, B, C, D is the square, and the resultant acts at point A, and all the remaining forces at point B, C and D. Now we take AB as x axis, AC and AD as y axis, and suppose that each side of square is equal to A. Length of each side of square is equal to A. P1, P3, P2, P3 act at point B, C and D, and all these forces are parallel forces. Therefore, resultant will be equal to P1 plus P2 plus P3. Because A is origin, therefore coordinate of A will be equal to 0 0, and side of square is equal to A, therefore coordinate of B will be equal to A 0, that of D will be equal to 0 and that of C is A. Now the center of all these forces is 0 0, therefore x coordinate of the resultant of point where resultant x of all these forces is 0. Therefore, P1 x1 plus P2 x2 plus P3 x3 upon P1 plus P2 plus P3 is equal to x bar, where x bar is equal to 0. X bar is the x coordinate of point where x resultant of all these forces act. But here x bar is 0, therefore P1a plus P2a plus P3 0 upon P1 plus P2 plus P3 is equal to 0. From this we have P1 plus P2 is equal to 0. Again, y coordinate of resultant is also equal to 0, therefore P1 plus P1 into 0 plus P2 into a plus P3 into a upon P1 plus P2 plus P3 is equal to 0. From this P2 plus P3 comes out to be 0. Now adding these two equations, we get P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus P2. Again, this P1 plus P2 plus P3 is equal to R, that is R plus P2 is equal to 0, then P2 comes out to be minus R, and also putting in the equation 2, P1 is comes out to be R and P3 comes out to be R. Now if we have any number of forces which are coplanar, we have to find the direction, magnitude and line of action of the resultant. Suppose OX and OY the two perpendicular directions, and P1, P2, Pn be any number of forces uh, which are coplanar, making angle alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, alpha n respectively with OX. This is P1, makes an angle alpha 1, and suppose this is P2, makes an angle alpha 2 and alpha 2. This is Pn, makes an angle alpha n with the positive direction of x axis. Then from the theorem of resolved parts, if R is the resultant of all these forces, then x component of a resultant, which will be equal to R cos theta, will be equal to algebraic sum of all the x component of all the individual forces. That is, R cos theta will be equal to x component of P1, that is P1 cos alpha 1 plus P2 cos alpha 2 plus P3 cos alpha 3 and so on, is equal to, suppose this is equal to capital X. This sums, algebraic sum of all the x component of individual forces is equal to capital X. Similarly, by resolving all the forces along y axis, resultant y component of resultant is equal to r sin theta. This y component of the resultant will be equal to algebraic sum of the y components of all the individual forces, which will be equal to P1 sin alpha 1 plus P2 sin alpha 2 plus P3 sin alpha 3 and so on. Suppose this sum is equal to capital Y. Now squaring and adding first and second equation, r square cos square theta plus r square sin square theta is equal to capital X square plus capital Y square. Taking r square common, r square comes out to be x square plus y square, and r is equal to x square plus y square square root. From this equation we can find the magnitude of the resultant. Now if we divide equation 2 by first, then r sin theta upon r cos theta will be equal to y upon x. From this equation tan theta comes out to be y upon x. This equation gives the direction of the resultant. To find the line of action of this resultant, let us assume that the line of action of this resultant intersect the x axis at point A, such that distance of point A from the origin is x. Now algebraic sum of all the moments of the forces about A will be equal to 0, because the resultant passes through A, and the moment of resultant about A will be equal to 0. From this equation we will get the value of x. Therefore we can completely find the resultant of any number of coplanar parallel forces. Working method to find the resultant: we select two straight lines at right angles to each other, and we take these straight lines as axes, and then we resolve all the forces along the axis and find their algebraic sum, and call this sum is equal to x and y. If r is the resultant making angle theta with the OX, then r is equal to x square plus y square square root, and tan theta will be equal to y upon x. Now suppose this resultant intersect OX at a distance x from the origin, then equate to the 0 the algebraic sum of moments of all the forces about it, and then we find the value of x. Now we discuss some examples to understand this concept. See this example: forces of magnitude P, 2P, 3P act along the sides BC, CA, AB of equilateral triangle ABC. Then we have to find the resultant in their resultant in magnitude, direction and line of action. Take B as origin and BC as x-axis and a line perpendicular to BC as y-axis. Suppose that the resultant of all these forces is R, which intersect the x-axis at a point E at a distance x from the origin B, that is the point from the point B. Now resolving all the forces along x-axis, x component of resultant will be, suppose this resultant makes an angle theta with the x component of x-axis of the given system, then x component of this resultant will be equal to r cos theta. This will be equal to algebraic sum of all the individual forces, x components of all the individual forces. X component of first force P will be equal to P cos 0 because direction of P is along the x axis, and that of 2P will be 2P cos 120 because 2P makes an angle 120 with the positive direction of x axis, and that of 3P will be equal to 3P cos 240 because this force makes an angle 240 with the positive direction of x axis. Now by putting the value of cos 0, cos 120 and cos 240, we get r cos theta comes out to be P into 1 plus 2P into minus half into plus 3P into minus half, that is r cos theta comes out to minus 3P upon 2. Now again resolving all the forces along y axis, y component of resultant r sin theta is equal to P sin 0 plus 2P sin 120 plus 2P sin 240, r sin theta comes out to minus 10 to 3 by 2P. Now squaring and adding, r square will be equal to 9 upon 4P square plus 3 upon 4P square, that is r square is equal to 12 upon 4P square, that is r square is equal to 3P square. From this equation r comes out to be under 3P. Now if we divide 2 by equation 2 by 1, we get tan theta is equal to 1 by root 3, and from this, because from the first equation see that cos r cannot be negative, but this in this equation r cos theta comes out to be negative, this means cos theta is negative, and in the second equation r sin theta is also negative, but in this equation tan theta comes out to be positive. Sin theta negative, cos theta negative and tan theta is positive. This condition is satisfied only in third quadrant. This means theta lies in third quadrant and theta will be equal to 180 plus 30, that is theta is equal to 210, and direction of this r will be equal to like this angle will be equal to 210. Now to find the x, that is the distance of the point E where resultant meets x axis from the point B, we take the moment about point B. Moment of r upon B will be equal to, this is the perpendicular distance, this is angle theta, and this perpendicular is equal to this is equal to this is equal to x, and this will be equal to x sin theta, this is equal to x sin theta. And then moment of the resultant point B will be equal to r into x sin theta, and that of P passes through point B, and moment of this force P about B will be equal to 0, P into 0 plus 2P, that of 2P, moment of 2P, moment of 2P will be equal to A sin 60, A sin 60, A sin 60. Because triangle is equilateral triangle, they suppose that and suppose that each side of triangle is equal to a, then the perpendicular distance of the point B from the line of action of 2B comes out to be a sine 60, a sine 60. Force 3B passes through point B, therefore moment of this 3P force will be equal to 0. By using the theorem on moments, moment of the resultant about point B will be equal to moment of force P about B plus moment of force 2P about B plus moment of force 3P about B. These two forces P and 3P passes through the point B, therefore their moments are equal to 0 about B, and the moment of resultant is Rx sine theta. R is equal to 1 to 3P x sine theta. Sine theta is equal to, because sine theta is equal to, here theta comes out to be 210, and sine 210 will be equal to minus half, and the right hand side 2P into a sine 60 is equal to 1 root 3 by 2a. From this x comes out to minus 2a. The negative sign shows that point E lies on the negative side of x axis, that is E will be lie in this direction, E will be here, and BE will be equal to twice the length of side of triangle ABC. Now see this example. If we have 6 forces whose relative magnitudes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 act along the sides of regular hexagon taken in order, show that the single equivalent force is of relative magnitude 6, and that is that it is act along a line parallel to force 5 at a distance from the center of regular hexagon equal to 3.5 times the distance of side of the from the center. Because the magnitude of forces are taken as relative magnitudes, therefore suppose that forces are k, 2k, 3k, 4k, 5k and 6k in magnitude. Let the perpendicular line AB and AE are taken as axis. Suppose this is x axis, this is y axis. Suppose R makes an angle theta with the x axis. Now resolving all the forces along x axis and y axis, x component of resultant will be equal to R cos theta, and that of all the individual forces. X component of force k which acts along AB is equal to k cos 0, because k makes an angle 0 with the positive direction of x axis, and that of 2k cos 60, because this angle is 60. In the regular hexagon each internal angle is equal to 120, this angle is 120, therefore this angle will be equal to 60, and that of 3k this is again 60, and this angle will be equal to 120, this is equal to 120. This force 3k makes an angle 120, and 4k is opposite to positive direction of x axis. This means this force makes an angle 180, and 5k makes an angle 240, and 6k makes an angle 360. Therefore R cos theta is equal to, by putting all these values of cos 60, cos 120, cos 180 and so on, R cos theta will be equal to k common 1 plus 2.5 plus 3 into minus half plus 4 into minus 1 plus 5 into minus half plus 6 into half. By solving, this comes out to be minus 3k. Similarly, y component of all these forces, R sin theta will be equal to k sin 0 plus 2k sin 60 plus 3k sin 120 plus 4k sin 180 and so on. this by putting all these values of sine, we get r sin theta is equal to minus 3 under 3k, and from squaring and adding we get r square is equal to 36k square, and r comes out to be 6k. Therefore, relative magnitude of r is equal to 6. By dividing second equation by first equation, tan theta comes out to be tan theta comes out to be minus 3 under root 3 upon minus 3 k cancelled out, 3 cancelled out, which is equal to under root 3. Because cos is negative, this is negative, and y component is also negative, and from the third equation tan theta is positive. This means theta lies in the third quadrant and theta comes out to be 240. Now suppose that this resultant is at a perpendicular distance p, small p, from the origin A. Then taking moments about suppose that perpendicular distance, this is the center of regular hexagon, and suppose that p small p the perpendicular distance of the resultant force from the center of regular hexagon, then r into p, moment of resultant about center of regular hexagon, will be equal to r into p. And suppose that each force which acts along the side AB, BC, CD, DE, EF and FA is at a distance x from the center, then resultant moment of resultant about center of the regular hexagon will be equal to algebraic sum of moments of all the individual forces about the same point. Moment of first force k will be equal to k into x, k 2k into x, 3k into x, 4k into x, 5k into x, 6k into x. From solving this, r is equal to 6k, 6k is into p will be equal to k into x into 21, k cancelled out on both sides, p comes out to be 3 by 7 by 2 x, where x is the perpendicular distance of center from the each side of regular hexagon. Now suppose that forces PQR act along the sides BC, CA and AB respectively of a triangle ABC. If the resultant passes through the centroid, then show that P upon A plus Q upon B plus R upon C is equal to 0. Let G be the center of the triangle ABC. From G we draw GL perpendicular to BC, and GM perpendicular to AC and GN perpendicular to AB. AD is the median, D is the midpoint of BC. Also from vertex A we draw a perpendicular altitude AX on BC. Now triangle AXD and GLD are equiangular forces and therefore are similar. Angle AXD is equal to 90 and angle GLD is also equal to 90, and this angle is common in both, and third angle is equal to third angle. Therefore these two triangles are similar. Therefore if these two triangles are similar, then ratio of their corresponding sides will be equal. GL upon AX will be equal to GD upon AD, but AD is the median, therefore G divides AD in the ratio 1:3. ratio of GD and AD will be equal to 1 by 3. From this relation, AX comes out to be 3GL. Now, area of triangle ABC will be equal to half into base BC into perpendicular AX will be equal to half BC. This side BC is equal to small a, length of this side, and that of side AC is equal to small b, and that of AB small c. Now, area of triangle of ABC AXD is equal to 1 by 2a, AX is equal to 3GL. From here, this equation GL comes out to be 2 delta upon 3a. Similarly, GM will be equal to 2 delta upon 3b, and GN is equal to 2 delta upon c, where GM is the perpendicular distance of G from AX, and GN is the perpendicular distance of G from AB. Also, the resultant passes through center G, therefore movement of the resultant about the point G will be equal to 0. Therefore, algebraic sum of all the other forces whose resultant passes through the center G will be equal to 0. That is, P into GL plus Q into GM plus GN, R into GN will be equal to 0. By putting the value of GL, GM and GN, we get P into 2 delta upon 3A plus Q into 2 delta upon 3B plus R into 2 delta upon C is equal 3C is equal to 0. From this equation, P of this, all these common factors cancelled out, taking common P upon A plus Q upon B plus R upon C comes out to be 0. But from the sine formula, A upon sine A plus B upon sine B plus C upon sine C is equal to K. By putting the values of A, B and C, we get P upon K sine A plus Q upon K sine B plus R upon K sine C is equal to 0. From this, K cancelled out. P cosecant A plus Q cosecant B plus R cosecant C is equal to 0. In all these questions, we have studied how to find the completely the resultant of any number of forces, parallel forces acting at different points by using the concept of moments. Now, we discuss in the next video some more examples about the moments. So, thank you, students.